Good morning, students. Students, you would have learned, you would have seen that the blood of the human beings looks like similar, but this is not actually the case. The blood though looks like similar, but it actually differs in some certain aspects. And so far, two important types of blood groupings have been discovered. For example, A, B, O grouping and RH grouping. The ABO grouping is done on the basis of the presence or absence of some certain antigens. 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 Antigens are some certain type of chemicals that produces that produce immune response in the body. So antigens are some certain chemicals that produce immune response in the body. And immune response, as I have told you in the previous lecture, that immune response means body's resistance to the disease or against the disease causing agents. For example, in ABO grouping, there are four types of blood groups. Number first is the A blood group A. Number second is the blood group B. Number third is the blood group A, B. Number fourth is the blood group O. Blood groups. Blood groups. These are the four types of blood groups. Okay. So the blood group A, the individuals who have blood group A, means that the RBCs, the red blood cells in those individuals contains some certain chemicals called as antigens on the surface of their RBCs or red blood cells or erythrocytes. For example, if this is an RBC, so these are the antigen, and there may be hundreds of thousands of such antigens present on the surface of a single RBC. Okay, so in case of persons who have blood group A, their cells, the RBCs, the RBCs contain antigen A on their surfaces. Okay, and similarly, the persons who have blood group B, their RBCs contain antigen B. There contain antigen A, antigen, for example, this is the antigen, antigen B, antigen B. And in case of blood group AB, the RBC actually contains both types of the antigens. Both types of the antigens. Antigen A as well as antigen B. As far as blood group O is concerned, the RBCs in such individuals who have blood group blood group O, those individuals do not contain any type of antigen on the surface of their RBCs. Okay, so up to now you have learned that there are four types of blood groups existent among the human population. That's the blood group A, B, AB, and O. In blood group A, the surface of the RBCs contains some certain chemicals called as antigens. In case of blood group A, the antigen is antigen A. And similarly, in case of blood group B, the antigen is antigen B. In case of the persons who have the blood group AB, that means in those individuals, their blood contains AB antigen combinedly on the surface of their RBCs. And in case of those individuals who do not contain any antigen, that means their RBCs do not contain any of the antigens. Okay. So, as I have told you that the antigens are some certain chemicals. Actually, antigens are sugars. Antigens are sugars. For example, glycoproteins. Glycoproteins. In case of blood group A, B, or O, sorry, in case of blood groups A, B, the antigens are glycoproteins. Uh, that is sugars attached to the protein backbone. Okay, so the antigens have antibodies, and those antibodies exist. They remain within the plasma. Antibodies. That means each type of antigen has a certain type of antibody in the plasma. So these antibodies are actually the proteins which act against a specific type of antigen. Now let us see the four types of blood groups and the antigens and the antibodies. So here is the blood group. Blood group. Blood group and the antigen on the RBCs, and then the antibodies. Where are antibodies present? They are present in the plasma. Antibodies in plasma. And what should be the blood group of donor? So we would write here as donors group. Now, for example, if a person has a blood group A, that means the antigen on the RBCs is A. And the antibodies in plasma against this antigen is B. Anti-B. Okay? And the donors group must be the group A or O. That means if a person has a blood group A, in his plasma would be the antibody is B. And such a person can only be given the blood of a person whose blood group should also be A or O. Okay? Similarly, if a person has a blood group B, the antigen on the RBCs of such person's blood would also be B. And the antibodies in his plasma would be A. That means this antigen would induce the body to produce antibodies, anti-A. Okay? And the donors group should be the blood group B or O. So meaning here by to say that if a person's blood is B, that's a person has a B blood group, it means that the person's RBCs have antigen B on their surfaces, and the same person's plasma would contain the anti-A as antibodies. And if such a person has to be given the blood in such a case would also be would only be given a person who would have the blood group either B or O. Okay. Now similarly, if a person has a blood group A, B, So that means the RBCs in such an individual would have been containing both of the antigens. That's antigen A and B. And the antibodies, because both of the antigens are present, that means antibodies, there wouldn't be any antibody in such person's plasma. Antibody is nil. Okay? If such a person needs blood, so whose blood should be given to such an individual? This type of person who has a blood group AB would require any type of blood. We can give him a blood of a person who would contain the blood or whose blood group would be AB, B, A or O. That means any person who has one of the four blood groups AB, B, A or O would be able to give blood to such a person who has a blood group AB. Similarly, if a person has blood group O, that means this person's RBCs do not contain any antigen. So antigens are absent. And such a person's plasma would contain antibodies, anti A and B. And such a person would only receive the blood of a person whose blood group would be O. That means O blood group persons would only be given blood of a person who has himself the blood group O. Okay? So this in nutshell, the different types of blood groups, the antigens present on the surfaces of the RBCs in the individuals having such blood groups, and the antibodies present in their plasma, and the donors group. So here you would have seen that a person who has the blood group O, you can see here blood group O, blood group O, blood group O, blood group O. That means a person having blood group O can present his blood to any of the individual who has these blood groups. If a person has a blood group a person having blood group O can donate his blood to the person having blood group A. Similarly, if a person is required blood who has his own blood group is B, that means a person who has the blood group O can also present his blood to such individual. Similarly, if a person is having blood group AB, a person having blood group O can also donate his blood to such individual. And similarly, if a person is having a blood group O, a person having blood group O can also donate to this individual who has the blood group O. That means the blood group O, blood group O, that means the persons who have the blood group O are called as universal donors. Universal donors. That means persons who have the blood group O can donate their blood to any individual who have the blood groups A, B or O. That's why the persons who have the blood group O can donate their blood to any of the individual who may have one of the four blood groups. That's why blood group O is considered to be the universal donor, or the persons or individuals who have the blood group O are considered as the universal donors because their blood can be transfused to any of the individuals having one of the four blood groups. Okay. Now, number second, there's another important grouping, that is the RH grouping. The RH grouping. In case of RH grouping, this grouping has first been discovered in the rhesus monkeys. whose scientific name is the Macaca mulata. Rhesus monkeys, that means RH antigen, RH antigens was first discovered in the rhesus monkeys on the surface of the RBCs in rhesus monkeys, and later on it was found that the RH means rhesus, RH is short form of rhesus, means RH antigen is not only present in the rhesus monkeys but it's also present in human beings, and about 80% population 80% population of the human beings was found to contain this RH antigen, and those people, those individuals who have the RH antigen on their RBCs are called as RH positive. RH positive. And 20% of the population, 20% of about 20% of the population have been found to lack this RH antigen, and they have been called as RH negative. RH negative. RH negative. So RH antigen is another antigen. This antigen is the protein actually. It is present on the RBCs of an individual. First, it was discovered in the rhesus monkeys, and later it was found that this RH factor is also present amongst almost 80% of the human population, and those containing such antigen are called as RH positive, and people lacking such antigens are known as RH negative. A special case may be found between the two individuals. For example, between a mother and her child. In case of blood groups AB or O, there we have to consider that a person can only be given the blood if the donor's blood would match to the recipient's blood. To the recipient's blood. In that case, we have seen that a person having the blood group AB, such a person can receive the blood of any person. For example, if a person have blood group A, such a person can give the blood to the person having blood group AB. A person having blood group B can also give his blood to the person having blood group B, and similarly, a person having blood group AB would also give blood to the person having blood group AB, and similarly, if person is having blood group O, can also give his blood to the person having blood group AB. Therefore, the person who has a blood group AB are called as universal recipients. Universal recipients. So, people having blood group O can give their blood to any person, and therefore those individuals are called as universal donors. And the people who have blood group AB can receive the blood of any person who have different types of blood groups, and such a persons who have blood group AB are called as universal recipients. But here in this case, in case of RH grouping, which is also very important, and this is special. In case of the blood groups, we would have to look, we would have to see whether the two blood groups are matching or not. Okay, here too we have to see whether the two antigens are matching or not. For example, if a person is having blood group A, that means a person who have blood group A would only be able to give his blood to this person if his blood is also matching this. That means his blood too is A, that's carrying A antigens on the surface of their RBCs. Okay, so not only this that we have to see which type of blood the person is having, but we have also to see that the RH antigen should also match it. For example, you would have seen or you would have heard that a person is having a blood group A positive. That means this positive here means that the person who has a blood group A is also containing the RH antigen. Is containing the RH antigen. Okay. If a person is having the blood group A negative, that means this person do not contain the RH antigen. So if a person is to be given the blood group A positive, that means those individuals who have a same blood group A positive will only be able to donate their blood to the persons who have the A positive blood. Okay. So in case of mother and fetus, for example, if a mother is having the, in case of RH grouping, the mother is having, if the mother is RH negative, that means the mother's RBCs do not contain the RH antigen, and the developing fetus within the womb of the mother is RH fetus is RH positive. RH positive. That means the mother is RH negative and the fetus, the developing baby within her womb, is RH positive. What happens? What happens in the first pregnancy? There is least chances that the maternal blood would amalgamate, would mix up with the blood of the fetus because of a barrier, the placenta, the placenta, placenta. That is the placenta. It's a barrier which do not allow the mixing of the two bloods, the mother's blood and the fetus blood. It separates the two bloods, keep them at bay in the first pregnancy. But at the time of parturition, at the time of delivery, there are chances that some of the blood of mother may mix up with the blood of the fetus. In that case, the mother's blood would begin to produce antibodies. The mother's blood would produce or prepare antibodies. Antibodies. Antibodies against the blood of the fetus, which is RH positive. But this wouldn't damage to the fetus, so the first delivery would be normal. But there are chances in the succeeding pregnancies that the blood of mother, the maternal blood, may mix up with the blood of the fetus. In that case, the mother's antibodies would destroy the RBCs of the fetus, and it may cause severe anemia and joints and joints. So to avoid such a situation, such mothers should be given or are given nowadays anti 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 RH positive antibodies. So the mothers are given such antibodies to save her pregnancies after the first pregnancies. So students, this is the today's topic. Hope you might have understood the today's topic. I am thankful to you that you have listened to me patiently.